Hey guys, John here, and I'm in France in the sweltering heat at Leroy Merlin. Leroy Jenkins!
Leroy Jenkins!
That's all I can think about when I hear the Leroy Merlin name. It's one of the biggest hardware stores in France. Now I love a good tool hunt and I've not been to France before, so this is a first for me. Let's go and have a look. And before I forget, this video is sponsored by Surfshark, but I'll tell you more about them a bit later in the video. Tool aisle, here we go. Bit of sign of tools, Dexter toolkit. Got a cool display, look at that case and all of them. Fence pliers, that's something different. It's interesting when there's no UK language. Something, it's from Sweden, the Rapid Fence Plier. It's funny how it's got English on the front, no English on the back. And it's putting twine together, the Rapid Twine Setter. Picked up one of those from the old £50 toolkit. Jockery on the shelf, that's quite cool. Quite popular wire strippers. And then this is another place that's got like premium Dexter Pro lifetime guarantee. They're like sprung pliers, I guess, yeah. That's pretty cool. And then the old for round corners, they're pretty cool. I won't say it's unusual, but hello, look at that. I have one of those in a recent video, a Facom version. I said, does anyone know what it is? There's no clues there either. If you didn't guess right in the Facom version I got for a £5, it's a cable tie, tightener and cutter. And they've got one here with the Dexter badge on it. Good to see some Facom in France, the only French brand that I know of. Yeah, look at that. Did you know these are actually made in France? Didn't know that. I did not know they made so much in France. I thought it was just going to be the screwdrivers, but no. We've got the Allen keys made in France too. Spanner set, I've always liked the little Facom compact set. The little holder makes it for me. €63 for that set. Laserliner, we saw those in one of the German stores. They were in one of the giveaways. These were in a wheelbarrow with a zoom button. That was really good. That was a top pick for me. Ended up being one of the better tools. So tool hunting's going well, already found a few bits, but before I forget, let me tell you about our sponsor, Surfshark VPN. Surfshark VPN has thousands of different server locations all around the world that you can connect to, so your internet thinks you're at that location. Once again, it's been a terrific sponsor to partner with, as I'm back in France looking for tools, and when I'm in the hotel room after a long day of tool hunting, there's nothing I like more than to watch a film on streaming. I found myself in France this week and logged onto Netflix to watch one of my all-time favourites, The Pursuit of Happiness. Let me know if you like that film, it's one of my absolute favourites. No such luck though, it's not available on French Netflix. All I have to do is connect to the UK server connection and it's not there either. Well, luckily, Surfshark can help connect to over 100 countries, so I just connected to Canada, and bosh, there it was. It's super fast, secure, it blocks unwanted ads, and if you guys aren't satisfied, it has a 30-day money-back guarantee, so make sure to click the link in the description below, check them out, and if you're interested, use the code SHADOWPHONE for 4 months free. Right, with all that said, let's get back to Leroy Merlin. That is cool, isn't it? Pistol inject grease. So you can get a tube of Ront grease and then you screw that on the top and you can just fire grease into, I don't know what into. I don't know if that's for grease nipples or just like to grease a chain or something, but that is pretty cool. Pretty expensive, €26, so like 23 quid. Right, so I think that's the first weird pickup that is. That is genuinely a bit quirky. I'll tell you what else is quirky. Look at this trolley. That is the most normal trolley I could find. That's the extent of the basket. Must be a popular style of hammer in France. Not a hammer I've ever had. It's like a little thin chisel on the back. Find out the origins of that. That must be what they prefer over a claw hammer. Look, they've got 2 claw hammers, but then 10 of these things. And they've got the wooden ones down there, loads of wooden ones, and the Dexter own brand, and then a Stanley one. We've got enough Stanley, maybe we get a Dexter one. And then we've got an actual a Leroy Jenkins brand Dexter. It's like a little welder's hammer, isn't it? Except for usually you'd have like a spring here to stop the heat transferring up the handle, so it's one of the expensive ones too. €28 for a hammer with a little chisel in the hole. Screw magnet. That's cool, isn't it? Clip that to your belt and then have your screws. Designed in Holland. Premium quality. Stuck on you. It's funny how you see little bits of English writing, but then when you look for any sort of description or any help, there's none. But they've got it in the brand. Wolfcraft have some nice stuff. Got some clever little flooring stuff here. That's a clever little mitre jig, look. Oh, that's heavy than I expected. You don't see as much Wolfcraft in the UK. You do see it occasionally. Just for mitering corners. That's heavier than I expected. Laminate floor guide. Don't really know if you need a tool for that, really. It's quite easy. But maybe if you're doing a lot of it, That's interesting, isn't it? Fiskars, I'm sure I saw Fiskars somewhere else. Rather than a folding saw, it pulls back inside. And they call it a builder's saw. That is a pruning saw if ever I've seen one. Fiskars, where have I seen Fiskars? That's something a bit different, isn't it? I think we'll get that. This Dexter stuff looks quite cool. Their own brand, but they have some clever innovative stuff. Obviously they have not patented it or invented it or anything. I've seen these before, but quite nice that they've added a 12-piece VDE interchangeable screwdriver set for $19 into their range. That's a good price, 19 quid for that. You got a whole set of screwdrivers. No, it's not even 19 quid. As you can see, that's where it is. That's probably 17 quid. Never a big fan of these little stubby sets. That reminds me of the Halfords. Halfords have got the exact same set of that as that. I've had a set of Facom pliers for a long time and always really rated them. And they're made in France too. They're a much newer handle than the ones I've seen before. It's a pity they don't have the snips. No, they've got long nose. There you go, and they're actually working, so they're actually sprung. That's a much nicer spring in them than the old school ones. I like that. We need a triple plier set. That's the one thing that's notably missing. But they've got loads of pliers here. Look at this Dexter range. They've got heaps of pliers, all in their own brand. Even that's weird. 13 quid, and it's a little metal nibbler. You can see the end there. You get enough torque on it to cut through steel. But to have that kind of specialist item in your DIY standard Dexter lineups, that's pretty cool, isn't it? And then you've got a strap wrench. Got those in the UK. These are pretty cool. I've got one of these from Kennedy though. This is a pickup tool kit. There's a magnet on the end of that one. If you pull down the trigger here, then a little claw comes out the end. I don't think I'm gonna get one of those either. There's no like great deals, I'd say. Aha, €1 price. Is that what that is? Is that €1 price? The problem is it doesn't say Leroy on it. This is Fischer Derrex. That doesn't feel very nice, that one. Ooh, that is a bad zollstock. I mean, we've got to get one for the journey. That was a bit nicer. That's a metal aluminium zollstock. It does say Dexter on it. Oh, maybe we have to get both. Well, we've got 3 of those as well. It'd be nicer if it had a brand on the side. But the zollstock collection has to be continued. Nice little tape measure with a little viewing place on the top. Feels very cheap and cheerful that though. Just bought one of these, a Milwaukee one, but it was 10 times the price of this one. Little Dexter. I think that's a lovely little item for $5 going in. Oh hello, that was one of my favourite pickups from a German store, the Nobex square. It's like a speed square that has 7 positions and it clicks into place. It's really nice, I really like that. Made in Sweden. Sweden. And then a really nice quality mitre sled. Much nicer than your average mitre sled, and that one is. Oh, Dexter pencils, different sizes too. Hey, that's different, isn't it? Look how it's like a good 2 inches longer than your normal carpenter's pencil. They're cool, aren't they, for stenciling? Full set of number stencils. Probably use them for cutting numbers in foam. That's $8 for a full set of numbers, and then down here, full set of letters. That'd be interesting to see if I can actually cut some words with a scalpel. That'd be an interesting little test. Another little pick. I've never seen them in a DIY store before. Derrex loves that stencil in template. Gonna have to get them. Outie France. Here, Ninny or an outie. Here's more of that Laserline stuff that we liked. Now that little volt stick that Laserline had, I really, really liked. Just makes me have a second look now on their other stuff. They've got that multimeter compact, moisture finder, damp finder, thermo spot, wood tester, a little distance measurer, a laser measurer. I've got all of these things, to be fair. I like the multimeter. It's a very small form factor multimeter, that. The cheap ones, sometimes you have to have volt ranges too and ohm ranges, and then you've got to find your range. But that one has actually got what you want, which is just flick it to volts and it'll measure any volts, flick it to ohms and it'll check any resistance. That seems pretty nice. I do like them when they have a nicer way of packing away the cable though, and you can see the cables all stuffed in the back. Might come back for that though, I'm not sure about that. I like it. €37 that is. I wonder who that guy is. Representing DeWalt 100 years. Some T-stack stuff on the end. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Aviation snips and then a hole punch set. It's weird why you get a load of bits with it when there's no screwdriver. So you've got like an aviation snips, and then I think that's a hole punch, and then you've got a load of screwdriver bits and a bit driver. What are they going in? Weird kit that, isn't it? 33 quid. Oh, they're cool, aren't they? It's like a multi-tool, Swiss-made multi-tool, just for cutting off and setting up your MIG. And you have to have a little wire poking out. Don't do much welding, but they're pretty nifty. Le Blom. You can hang that as like a bathroom light switch, and then it'll be like, bang, smashing your tile. Looks like it, doesn't it? If you put that in the bathroom aisle, in the light pull, you'd get someone going, oh, it does match the bathroom, doesn't it? Done it, Gene. Oh, we are going for a blue theme. Wonder why. It looks like a flipping. That looks like your traditional UK bathroom pull, doesn't it? But painted blue. And if you don't, you can't see, but that weighs like, well, it says there, 800 gram. It's like having a bag of sugar on a string. Oh, gee, let's have that for the bathroom pull. It'll match. The quirky things draw your eye. So that is a level, but then with that attaches on the end, as you can see there. It's got angles. You level it up and then set an angle. Not seen that before. Some cool levels. Well, that's made in France. Ah, look, did you know? So that's Stanley, made in France, and it's called the anti-chock. I'm not sure what the use case is for these sloped levels, but are you thinking that Stanley kind of tailor their tool range? Obviously we saw over there they had those Stanley hammers that were unusual shape, and they kind of tailor the tooling for the country, try and get stuff locally made. Kind of cool, that, isn't it? To think that they think, well, this is the level that the French prefer to use, and there is a factory in France that makes them, so just do us one with a Stanley label. You see there's a Dexter one here, it's the exact same. I wonder if that one's made in France, made in China. I don't think we need levels. Chunk of metal with a little thingy on it, and it says it's a Nespoli. It's for your coffee machine. So I'm in the second tool aisle now, and it's still packed. So this in itself is something unusual. Always on the lookout for a cool knife. Fiskars, that's where I've seen Fiskars. I've had a good pair of scissors from Fiskars. Heavy duty scissors. I've got enough scissors in my life, but that's where I've seen them. Good cutting tools is the name of their game. Oh, something else made in France. We've got a little razor scraper. It's nice seeing that there's stuff made in France. I like it. Didn't know that. I love it when we find something truly weird. Look at that. So, can you tell what it is yet? Can you see what it is yet? It's a knife come out that side, and a knife come out that side. And this is their Dexter cheat range. Got the last one. That's going in. What a flipping banger that is. I'd say if there were 5 of them, I'd get 5 of them. I think that's the weirdest tool yet. That's why you have to keep looking, because everything has got some, I mean, even that's a bit weird, isn't it? An automatic system, so there's like a little hatch there that pops up. So you stack the blades in there, like a gun cartridge. It's a really thick knife, that. And then you can like push them into position. That's weird, isn't it? I feel like I want to get that one too, so we can have a look at the two. There's 2 weird knives there by Dexter. I don't think they're expensive. This store is the only store I've ever seen selling a mace. What is that? A stainless steel hot ball. Made in France. It's a freaking mace if I've ever seen a mace. It's a ball on a stick with a handle. Made by Edmer. The stainless steel hot ball. That is a weapon. I doubt you'd be able to sell that in the UK. It's got English as well. To make a 40mm diameter channel on insulating materials behind plasterboard without damaging them. Perfect to make your multimedia connections. Time saving, no need to groove the wall. So you just heat that up. So if a mace wasn't bad enough, you heat that so it's glowing red and then start swinging it round to help you run your cables. That is just insanity, that, isn't it? I'm getting that. That's going in the pile. The flipping mace. Nikita kit. Never a big fan of their drill kits. Oh, and here we go, look, I see a toolbox. Soft system. Oh, look at that, shame they're on soft system 1 here. Not quite. Oh, they have the old JML videos here. I think we've seen templates as many a time. They're trying to flog that one for €11 with a little video. Not on your Nelly. Power tool section. Don't have a huge amount of space, but I always feel with the power tools, I'm not going to see much new. I still always scan, but I feel like as soon as you've got Ryobi brand, you've got that everywhere. Same with Nikita, but sometimes you find quirky tools in the gaps. AEG's an interesting one. Obviously they make kitchen appliances, but they license a lot of stuff, AEG. So that's some other factory that's licensed the AEG brand. Get it a lot in Australia, and there's a few bits here. Another screen, showing the old multi-wrench. Again, can't be fooled by that stuff. I know when something's new or not. Right, hopefully we find some toolboxes now. This is a good sign. Here we go. Ah, Facom toolbox. Happy to see some Facom in a French store. It's the main Facom brand I know. Probably are some others. I love it when I see this because I think, I don't have to buy that and take it home. But if you don't know, Works, this box here, is the exact same as the Kita Stack and Roll. Kita make a lot of different brands of toolbox, so they make the Kita Stack and Roll, and then obviously they make this one, the Works Stack and Roll, and then they also make the Heart Connect. And they've probably got drawers, yeah. So they've got drawers too. Exact same, so our inserts fit the Heart Connect, the Works drawers. You don't have an insert for the little organiser tote thing. That's cool. Look at that. Get your very own Peugeot. My eye's been drawn. Peugeot. That's the last brand I never expected to see a Peugeot toolbox. That is literally the quirkiest toolbox. Yeah. Certainly brand wise. And then we've also got Kita in the same area, and this is the Kita Pro series, which is the same as the Husky Connect and the Magnuson Stacker. So loads of boxes exist, but a lot of them are all rebadged and rebranded. Some Metabo Meta box up there, some Mac packs and stuff. So we have inserts for all these already. There's none that I can think of that we don't have. We don't have drawers for this, I don't think. Kita stickers had its, that was chucked on with somebody's eyes closed. Pro series drawers. That's an interesting one. Just spotted this in the toolbox section too. I wanted something Facom and I couldn't find anything. But a Facom tool bag. I quite like that. It's like, you can see it's not very big, got a nice size, but it's like rigid. So you open it up and there's a nice big square inside. And I reckon I could do something pretty cool with that. I like that. I think that is the quirky toolbox pickup of the day, seeing as I already have these with different brands on. Pretty nifty thing. Rothenberger by the till for about £4. Like a tiny little angled mini saber. I like that. Looking for a tool on offer by the till. So I think we get 5 of them and a 6th one for the list. A lot more cables and colours and wires than we have. Look at this, got the whole rainbow of choice of wires. Always have a look down the electrical aisle, because you know they have a few electrical tools dotted about. Or at least you think they do. There you go, proven right. Not many though. That's a pretty cool Ethernet cable crimping tool. Don't think we need one of those though. Always like to see torches. That's cool, isn't it? And Zanlight, like a head strap torch rather than like a single light. I like that. Is that made in France? Because it's got a French flag in it, Marquis France. Made in China, but there's a French flag on it and I've not seen it before. I like that. Got a few of this brand, Zanlight, with quirky looking lights. I think that's the top pick for me though. That is pretty cool. Old DeLorean. Just something to keep Colin happy while he's here, if he pops by. That's funny, isn't it? So they've got like an electric vehicle like signage, and then they just chuck that in there and gone. When it comes to electric vehicles, the DeLorean is the king. This is a cool thing you don't see very often. You've got lumber, like rough sawn, or like, I don't know if it's classed as rough sawn, but you've still got bark on the end. And you've got some really nice solid wood countertops, and then you've got a bunch of these. So that's pretty cool, isn't it? I think that is my last pickup, the multimeter pocket. I've come back for it, and I think with that, I've got a great top 10 to show you. So let me get all this paid for, get back to UK. Right, so fresh back from France, Leroy Merlin. What a store that is. That is probably one of the most extravagant hardware store frontages I've ever seen, and it was a massive store too. Leroy Merlin, famously French. They've got loads of stores all over France. The one I went to was in Perpignan, and it was a bit of a beast. I've got a full bag of goodies. Shout out to Leroy Jenkins. If you don't know what that meme is, well, I'm not a gamer, but I've seen enough gaming stuff to know Leroy Jenkins is the man. He's a famous meme running in, and like a bull in a china shop. I don't fully understand it myself, but he kind of took no heed of the strategy and just went all in, which I'm, you know, all for. That was, I Leroy Jenkins it straight into the shop. Now, let me know in the comments if you understand that meme. But I got a full bag of goodies from this place, and it was a really nicely laid out store. They had quite a few tool aisles, which is good, a good thing, but everywhere else was nice, clean and tidy. They had all digital price tags on everything, and it just felt really, really nice. They also had a good range of tools, both like DIY budget, but also Facom and some premium brands, and they've got their own brand, Dexter, but then even that was split into Dexter Basic and then Dexter Pro. So a well thought out store, loads of choice. I've come back with about 15 items, tools in this bag. I've boiled them down into a top 10 list. Some of them are similar. Let's get into it, starting with, not even on the list, a bonus, the Facom tool bag. I'm always on the lookout for an unusual tool bag. Now this one stood out to me because I felt like it's got a nice solid design. It's Facom, which is a brand I like, French brand, owned by Stanley Black & Decker, if you didn't know. But I felt like it was a good option for my compact toolkit. Now I've mentioned it a few times. I think we're at the precipice of having a completed compact toolkit. Now I've found this tool bag. I had a couple of other options that were in my mind that I was thinking that could be the compact toolkit, but none of them really tick the box as a really nice solid. I want it to feel compact as well and take up as little room as possible in a boot. Some of the kits were quite big but thin. This feels like one of the better options. Really nice tool bag. It's also got a tape measure clip on the side. It kind of lends itself to some foam because it's just basically an empty cavity in there. there. There's no kind of pockets or organisers, just a big square shape. So, as luck would have it, here's one I made earlier, a set of inserts for it. So basically, I've got a 50mm piece that slots in the bottom, and then 2 lift-out layers, and all 3 of those were cut out of one of the sheets out of one of our starter kits. So this is a 50mm pack. You get 3 sheets, 600 by 420mm, and a cutting kit and a zoll stock. That's $44.99. We'll put a link in the description for a starter kit, so you can go and grab one of those. And basically, all 3 of those came out of one sheet, so you'd still have 2 left. So essentially, the foam for this box here, all the way up to the top, and I put a little handle on the side too. So I've sorted the foam for that already. As we go through this toolkit, you'll see there's a few items in there that are going to go in my compact tool set. So I'll leave that at the front. I'll put these here so I can start laying tools out on them when I get to anything that I'm going to include. But with that being said, let's get into my top 10. So number 10, starting strong. This is quite a cool item from Ront. Never seen something like this before. And from what I can gather, obviously I don't take these things out of the packets. I'm only looking at the packet, and obviously it's all in French. But you can probably tell from that little picture there, it's a nozzle that attaches to like standard tubes of grease, which I thought was pretty cool. I thought that was a pretty novel little dealio, that was. Not very much money, this one. And essentially, we've got a tube of their grease, Ront Grease. This screws on the top, and then rather than having a big clunky grease gun...
Grease me up, woman!
Okie dokie.
Oh, I can feel something happening. Something's happening. There we go. That is nifty, I think. Now, I don't know if that's going to go into a grease nipple, but I would imagine it would, because basically it's got a little point on it, and it's like a sprung ball bearing. So by having that in, the pressure of the grease would push through past the ball bearing. I think that would work on a grease nipple. And the main thing is, look how compact it is. Like you picture a grease gun, and if you're making a little tool set for your bike to go with you, and you want to just grease up the chain or grease up any of the moving parts, that is a lot easier to pack into a tool kit than a flipping big clunky grease gun. So I quite like that. Never seen that before in the UK. That is a new one on me. The brand is Ront. It's a very much French brand. There's no English writing on it at all. Quirky. That's the definition. That is what we're looking for. I'm looking for weird things I've not seen in the UK, and that is number 10 on the list. Let me know what you think. Let's go for number 9. Next up, we've got something from Dexter. Now, this was the Leroy Merlin brand, as far as I can tell. Every kind of big hardware store has its own brand, doesn't it? B&Q has got Magnuson, Wix has got Wix. Just grab me knife. This is the Magnum knife. Looks titanium, doesn't it? I love it. It's not titanium, though, but you can still get one of these. topnotchtools.co.uk. And if you weren't up to speed, that is where we're selling some of these quirky tools that I find. If I find some interesting stuff that everybody loves, it's not available in the UK. So this was an example. Magnum is a finished brand. They've got a few cool tools, and we've got the knife available as part of a bundle over there. So links in the description, go and check it out. But I've got it to open this thing. So Dexter is Leroy Merlin's own brand. Now, a lot of these hardware stores do have their own brand. We know Magnuson and a Bauer. Usually they try and have something that isn't the store name because it kind of devalues it. It feels better when it's Dexter. Now this thing caught my eye, mainly because of the price. Price on the screen, ping. And I thought it's a lot kit for that price. Now, there's a lot of brands will have these now, one handle with multi-screwdriver attachments, but this one felt like great value. You know, there's a full set here, 10 screwdrivers. You've also got this, a little kind of like neon screwdriver. They're not great, these, really don't like them at all. But, you know, even without that, even if you put that straight in the bin, you've got a nice screwdriver set here. And if you can put them together, you know, your first tool kit, that gives you a nice set of electrical screwdrivers, safe screwdrivers, in a nice little packet. I think that is great value and a nice little thing. I'd love to see stuff like that, novel tools, rather than just standard VD screwdriver sets in the UK that we see in like a hardware store. To see some like novel tools and some kind of like compact space saving, good value stuff like that is really interesting. So that is a number 9. Oh, and actually, I'm going to include this one in number 9 because it's kind of on the same track as a screwdriver set. This is the Screw Magnet. Never seen one of these before. It says designed in Holland, which is a bit unusual. And essentially, you can see there, it's designed to just clip on your jeans or clip on your pants and essentially give you a little place to hold screws while you're working. So I've got a handful of screws.
I dropped the screw in the tuna.
It kind of clips on your pants like that and then have all your screws attached to it. Don't know if that's adding an element of danger. It seemed a bit crazy to me, but quite a strong magnet. It's never a bad idea having a magnet handy. They can be useful for a lot of things, but having a load of spikes on your jean pants, I think you'd be better off with a solid pouch if you ask me. But what do you reckon to that? Screw magnet. It's not all about picking up cool tools and quirky tools that are actually useful. Sometimes it's a case of just picking up the unusual just so we can have a look at it and have a conversation about it. And that, for me, isn't really a winner. But I picked it up anyway to show you, the screw magnet. I'll put that in number 9. Let me show you number 8. Number 8, I've got a standard item. but a slight variation on a standard item. And this is an unusual shaped hammer, I'm sure you'd agree. And they call it the French form hammer. And it was derived, apparently, from locksmiths. Now, this wasn't the only unusual shaped item. There was a couple of other tools that I found in France that were like a slight variation on a standard item. And obviously, they've just got used to it. When you go into a UK hardware store, or even in the US, to me, it's all claw hammers. All variations on claw hammers, basically. But in France, they're all this. There are some claw versions of the French form hammer, but most of them were exactly the same as that. So I picked up a Dexter one, thought it was an interesting thing to show you that every country's got its own little way of doing things. And that is a good example of it. And that's not the only item in number 8, because I also picked up a couple of zollstocks for the collection. So as always, if I see any zollstocks on the road, especially power tool or tool branded ones like these two, Fischer, Derrex and Dexter, I have to pick them up. It's a pity they've not printed on the side. Beggars can't be choosers when I'm looking for zollstocks in France. It's not something I was expecting to see a lot of, but I did have 40. That puts us at 42, so we'll keep that counter running. Let's get on to number 7. So it's not a shadow foam video without the zollstocks. The other common theme, or the common thread across all these videos, is a giveaway, and this one is no different. I managed to find a cool tool I liked and picked up 6 of them. So 1 for me, 5 for a giveaway, and that is a Rothenberger mini torch, which I thought was pretty cool. I've seen these before where there's a lighter goes in the bottom, but this one is actually a gas refill, and I thought it's always good to have a lighter in a toolkit because you can use it for heat shrink, you can use it for lighting stuff up or whatever. It's just a useful tool in general. So I thought that was pretty cool. I like it. Don't see these very common. I've not seen this Rothenberger one in the UK, but I picked up 6 of those. Here we go. They're in my number 7 spot because I think they're a nifty little tool anyway. And I like Rothenberger. They've got more and more tools coming out Rothenberger, so I'm always happy to have something from them. But it didn't stop there. I also picked up, they have super long carpenter's pencils in France. These are just like 15-20% longer than a normal carpenter's pencil. Normal one in the UK cuts off about there, doesn't it? So I got 5 of those to go with our little giveaway. And another little thing that I thought was quite a cool item was the Dexter 5-meter tape measure. So it's a 2-meter tape, handy little thing. It's only slim, 2-meter tape. Sometimes it's all you need, isn't it? A 2-meter tape. You can do a lot with that. And just having it in a little pack somewhere, or maybe having it in your car, is super handy. So I picked up 5 of those, and that is our little giveaway bundle in number 7. All you've got to do is drop a comment, head down there, drop a comment about any of these tools. Is there any of this top 10 that particularly caught your eye? Anything you'd like to see in the UK? Get involved in the conversation below this video, make sure you're subscribed, and that's all you've got to do to be entered into that draw. And mentioning draws, we've actually got a prize draw coming up later in this video, and you'll see how simple the prize draws are. So stay tuned for that, but let me show you number 6. Number 6 is an item which wasn't in the tool aisle, because when I'm in a foreign hardware store, I usually start in the tool aisles, but I always look around the end aisles. I pretty much have a mooch across the whole store because you never know what you're going to find hanging up or by the tills or in the bargain section. And this was a good example. I found this in the electrical bit, and this is a headlamp like no other. Made in France, Zanlight, French brand. Let's get the knife out again. And this thing is like a flexible head torch, which I just thought was pretty nifty, to be honest. As soon as I saw it, I was thinking, it just caught my eye straight away. So USB-C charged, which is good. Always happy to not have to worry about batteries. And essentially, you can see on the picture, it's like a flexible strip light rather than like a big bulky thing that sits on the top of your head. I felt like, and it is, yeah, I felt like it was going to be more comfortable than a traditional light because it's just like a headband and it's kind of spreading a load of light exactly where you're working. And I think it's got different modes. It's got 3 brightness on the top center one, and it's also got the side torch too for like very direct light rather than like a broad wash of light. It doesn't feel like there's any lump particularly sticking in my head. It all just feels quite comfortable. So I thought, I've not seen anything like that before. Maybe you have, but I mean, I'm not really big into head torches and headlamps and stuff. I'm not really looking. You got a picture of someone running and then someone walking. So all walks of life are using head torches, aren't they? Not just as a tool. So you may have seen one, but I've not seen one in a hardware store, and I think that is a pretty cool thing. When I picked it up, I did have a couple of toolkits in mind. I thought it's also quite slim and it can slot into a toolkit, and being charged, anything else in there that's USB-C charge, I can just have one lead and one plug basically. It just makes everything a bit easier. Not having to worry about batteries, and you know, you leave a couple of batteries in a kit and then they all kind of leak, don't they, and cause a mess. So I thought this was a pretty cool item, and that is number 6. Let me show you number 5. So number 5 is, I think we mentioned Fischer Derrex earlier. Well, here's the Fischer Derrex tool I picked up. A lot of their stuff was just quite standard, but they had these stencil letters, which I've not seen before. They reminded me very much of the Derrex font. So big fan of Jimmy Derrex. I watch a lot of his videos. His ice pick is on its way to me, but I've been waiting for a while. Hopefully it arrives pretty soon, and that can go in one of my toolkits. Jimmy Derrex, he does use shadow foam. He's got some shadow foam t-shirts. Insert clip of him racing around on his go-kart. And his font is this kind of traditional stencil font, and it's Dexter written in this stencil font. So when I saw these, I just thought might be quite useful that to lay out kind of fonts or text on a sheet of foam. Maybe I can cut out some letters. So when we're doing our layouts later on foam, I might give this a go. So this is a full standard alphabet, and I think this was €10. And I also picked up their numbers as well. And I just thought these were a nice thing to have on hand. I'd probably put them in my shadow foam cutting kit. If I'm doing something that needs some kind of numbers or some stencils cut in, I think these might be good, especially for kind of a wall display. If it needs some big letters, I just thought they were quite a cool thing, quite a low cost item to have on hand. And I think when we do the layout, I will cut some letters in and give them a go. So bit of a weird one, but something I think that could be quite useful. That's number 5. Let me show you number 4. So on to number 4, and that is an item from Fiskars, a brand I do see quite a lot in Europe. Saw a bit of Fiskars in Germany. This thing is called the Fiskars Builders Saw, which even that is quirky and intriguing enough, isn't it? Because for me, this is some sort of pruning saw, not a builder saw, not even really a pad saw, but the whole action on it, the fact that it kind of, well, that's not ideal. I knew there'd be something quirky about it. The idea that it slides into the handle rather than like folding out. The mechanism caught my eye. Usually if it's a folding saw, it kind of locks straight into place, but this thing is kind of a bit loosey-goosey, to be honest. It kind of like slides in and out of its own accord, and then to lock it in place, you've got to wind this knob, which makes it feel like a bit of a cheap pruning saw, to be honest. Not necessarily a builder saw. All it says on here is builder saw, soft grip, and then it's got a hook on the back apparently as well. So if I drop that down there, yeah, it's got a bit of a hook there, so maybe you could have it hanging off your belt. But for number 4, not too bad. Let me show you number 3. Right, so on to number 3, and I got an item from Laserline. Now this is a brand I'd seen before in Europe, in Germany. It was in Bauhaus that I got a vault stick out of a wheelbarrow, and I think it was about €9. I think the whole idea of it being in a wheelbarrow on a bit of a deal felt like a good pickup for the giveaway, but I actually really liked it. It had a zoom button on it, which made it really sensitive. So as you were going along a wall, it was picking up power behind the wall. I thought it was a great little tool, and it had a torch built in. So when I saw the Laserline multimeter, this little pocket compact thing, I thought it was worth a pickup. I think it's about €35, this one. But as I've mentioned a few times, and we are getting closer to the completion of the compact toolkit. Compact toolkit for an electrician needs a compact multimeter, and you don't see many about, certainly many decent ones. Now, I could see this was a pretty decent one in the packet. Cheap models will have ohms in increments and volts in increments, and you've kind of got to know roughly what voltage you're looking at so you can set it to the right increment. A good one will just have a volt setting, and it'll be able to detect all the way from 0 up to 230, 415 volts. Same with the ohms. So I could see from the packet it looked pretty decent, better than a super cheap compact one that I've seen before. So I'll have to power this up and give it a proper go.
Give it a go. Give it a go.
Right, so this item, now I've put batteries in it, is actually a little beauty. I think I really like this. I'd have to give it a proper test in anger for my proper opinion on it. But having a look at the features, I do think this is a little beastie. For starters, it's got a torch built in, which, you know, never a bad thing, is it really? Got a torch built in. It's also got a volt stick built in. Never seen a multimeter with a little volt stick built in, essentially. So you can see over here, there's a cable, and I don't even have to press any button. As long as it's turned on, I hold it near the wire, and it's just flashing red. So it's saying there's power. So if you are just trying to buzz out cables, it's nice that it's all in one hand. You could just be like, oh, that one's live, that one's going into the panel, that one's live, you know. And then once you find a dead one, you can double check it and then rip it out. I really like that. I think that is really novel that they've just built it into the top. I also quite like the fact that, as I mentioned in the packet, it's just got volts. You just flick it to volts. You'd have to check if it's DC or AC. So I've got a little battery here. You can see it works exactly as you'd expect. Set it to DC, instantly pulling up the voltage of that battery. Nice big numbers. You can read it really easily. Some of these like cheaper ones, there's so much going on the screen. You're thinking, what's going on here? They've got all these little weird symbols, whereas this is really simple. All it's saying on there is 1.6 volts DC, boom. And that's nice and simple. You've also got the ohms setting for checking resistance, but you can flick modes, which is nice. And it's got one of the modes that's really, really handy. The one I like, you're in a panel, you're just trying to check a load of fuses in a row. If you're like me, you just want it to beep. You've got 3 different modes on that ohm setting. You're not having to set if it's mega ohms or anything like that. It's just put it on ohms, it'll check everything, and it's working with the little beeper. So for me, that ticks all of the most common use case boxes for me. It does all of the standard stuff, volts, milliamps, and resistance, but you've not got loads of different settings to turn it to. And you've got that little like audio alert when you're checking for, so you've got 2 dead fuses here, kind of a classic case of you checking for the one that's working. That one's dead and that one's fine. It just makes it a lot quicker. You don't even have to look at the screen. So that is a beauty for number 3. Really happy with that, and it was great value too. So I definitely think that one is going to be going in my compact toolkit. All clips in there nice as well. Those test leads clip into the holder hold it nice and clean, and it doesn't take up much room. You compare that to the likes of a Fluke, that's like a third of the size. So that's a little beauty, that is. Well happy with that. You get 5 or 6 manuals with it as well, don't need those. And that is number 3. Let me show you number 2. So number 2 is a series of knives, and have you ever seen a knife like this? A lot of these knives I pick up, there's something a little bit unusual about them, but I've seen something similar. I've never seen a knife like this one. This is a true unique offering, I would say, and it is a knife with 2 ends on it. So you've literally got one blade on that side, which is a hook knife, and obviously you can change it, and then you slide it back the other way, and you've got kind of a standard utility blade on that side. I feel like that is a bit of a winner, really, isn't it? Because that is a super handy knife. It's a nice, solid, heavy knife, and you've got the utility blade fixed in position as you'd want, and it's even got a quick release on the blade, so you just press that in and you can change the blade over. But then when you want a hook knife, let's say you're doing carpet and you prefer a hook blade, you can just press that, bring it all the way back, and then slide it out the other way, and you've got a quick release on that side too. What a little beauty. I don't think it needs any more explanation really, that does it? It's quite a self-explanatory little product, that one. And for me, that is a perfect example of a quirky, novel tool that I've never seen before. That is exactly what I'm looking for when I'm at these different countries. So, like that, but it didn't stop there, because they also had this little thing, which is the same. This is a Dexter knife, which is Leroy's brand. This is a Dexter knife, and this one just had an unusual trapdoor. You can obviously see the shape of that. It's a little utility blade shaped trapdoor, and it can hold an entire packet of blades, which I just thought, again, it's just something a bit different, isn't it? It comes with 5 blades, but you can see how deep that is. You could literally put a full pack of 10 blades in there, which I don't think is a bad thing. I mean, these knives are quite chunky. I do often wonder when you've got a really big chunky knife and there's only space for 1 spare blade, you think, well, what are you playing at? They come in packs of 10. Why not have the full pack of 10 in the handle, which I thought was quite nice. Now, that's not great. This knife is aluminium. That little door there is fully plastic, and it's just coming off the hinges a bit too easy for my liking. But quirky little knife, what do you reckon? I think having a full pack of 10 blades, I mean, they could have gone in this. This whole section here is pretty plain. So there you go anyway. 2 quirky knives. Doesn't stop there. I've got a third weird knife. This is a Stanley Fat Max, and this one isn't your standard utility blade. This one is a 18mm snap-off blade. So I use these quite a lot, cutting shadow foam sheets down. We have an 18mm snap-off blade in our pro cutting kit. This one, however, says it is quicker snaps for sharper cuts. So usually I would snap one of these off with a pair of pliers, but this one has got some sort of snapping mechanism built in. Let's have a look. So you move it up to this little line here, and then you kind of like release this mechanism, fold it out, I guess, and it just snaps it. There we go. So it's got a snapper built in. Never seen an 18mm snap-off knife with a snapper built in before. That is a first on me. That is a new one. It's got a nice feeling to it as well. I like that. That is pretty cool. If you do a lot with craft and you have to have a sharp knife and maybe a scalpel won't do you because you need something a bit more heavy duty, that is a beauty. Stanley, you'd have expected to see that in the UK, wouldn't you? A Stanley Fat Max, but maybe I've just missed it. Let me know, have you seen this before? Do you use that? Let me know in the comments and you will be entered into the giveaway as a bit of a bonus, as well as having a conversation about tools. So that's number 2, and that leads me to probably one of the best items I've ever found in a tool shop. One of my favourite items. And this thing took me entirely by surprise. I was looking around the shop. I'd already felt like I'd found a load of cool items. And this quite inconspicuous item didn't really catch my eye too much, but once I had a close look, I thought, blowing heck, definitely don't think you'd ever see this for sale in the UK. But before I show you my number 1 pick, let's do a quick giveaway draw from the Maker Central show. Right, so onto a prize giveaway, and you know how we do it by now. We put all the comments into a random comment picker. We've got 1,044 comments that have all been entered. And what is the prize? Well, it's from the Maker Central show. It's our most successful Maker Central show video ever. And that is a show at the NEC in Birmingham where loads of creators and builders and makers from around the world meet up and share their creations. There's loads of handmade tools. Go and watch the tool show here if you want to. There's some really cool tools in that one and loads of British made tools. And we did a bit of a swag haul. What have we got in it? Well, we've got a Maker Central beanie hat. We've got Famag Zollstock. This is a bit of a beast. We've got a really cool Burra from Shaviv. We've got a Shaviv Burra. We've got something from Brothers Make, their carabiners. We've got this, the Inventors Workshop from Ruth Amos, who we might be working with in a future video. Stay tuned for that. They're all signed as well, these. Loads of the stuff at the show was all handmade, so there's a bit of a theme here. Brookswood Build made us some mallets. That was a bit of a last minute addition too. These were pretty cool. We've got the gyro cut, which is like a craft cutter. We've got a load of Colin Furs merch, so hoodies and t-shirts. We'll have to basically, as we draw the winners, we'll start with hoodies and move on to the t-shirts. It's an epic bundle, this. There's loads of cool stuff. So without further ado, let's get into the comments. So we've gone for random comment picker. 1,044 comments. Let's pick the first winner. We've got Matthew Whitfield, 7121, and he says, love these videos, always interesting to see some cool and quirky tools. You know it. We're in the middle of a France quirky tool hunt, and we've already got some bangers. So you're the first winner, congratulations. So we'll start Matt off with a hoodie, and we'll do the hoodies, the milk and tea hoodies first, and then into the t-shirt. So we've got 3 hoodies, 2 t-shirts. Next winner, we've got Pirate Ahoy there. He says, I got an adjustable 8-inch King Dick on my rack. Good tool, quality tool. King Dick tools, classic British made tools. We love those, and we got some vintage ones from the Vintage Tool Store at Maker Central. If you'd like to see us do some more British tools, let us know in the comments. Always up for a tool discussion. Right, so let's go for the third winner. We've got Mr. Ryan IK, and he says, those mallets are awesome. Yeah, the mini mallets. I don't know what I'd have been talking about. These mini mallets didn't show up in the video. They were an afterthought. But you might have been referring to Brookwood Build's actual mallets, which were these beasties, all handmade. So it's a great little video. There was loads of handmade UK tools, and this one wasn't just a UK made tool. The actual maker is on YouTube too. So you can go and show some love to Brookwood Builds. Thank you again for sending these down, Paul. So Mr. Ryan IK, you're gonna have your very own mini mallet now to go with your comments. So congratulations, that's the third one. Let's go for the fourth. Jackovos says, those mallets from Paul are looking good. Another Paul Brookswood Builds lover. Well, you've got a mini mallet too, so that's number 4. Let's go for the 5th and final winner. We've got AKA 4621, and he says, great tools, love these videos. What is the next fair you are going to? As I have never heard of Maker Central until this video. Well, following the Maker Central was the Installer Show, which was at the Birmingham NEC as well. Go and watch that there. That's a pretty cool video as well. I actually played darts with the current #1 World Darts Champion, Luke Humphreys. I nearly beat him. It was a banging video. Found some great tools, some great tool brands. The next show I think we'll broke to, maybe the Harrogate Woodworking Show. So go on Google, type that in, Harrogate Woodworking Show. Similar vibe to the Maker Central show. Lots of handmade tools, woodworking brands, woodworking tools. So maybe check that one out. And then basically just go on Google, type in Tool Fair, Tool Show. That's how I find them. That's how I find interesting shows. And yeah, you might see me there. And if you know of a show that I don't know, let me know in the comments, because it's great to know. It's great to have that discussion. I'm always on the lookout for interesting shows to go to. And you're entered into the giveaway. So it's like, why wouldn't you, basically? And there we go. That is the 5 winners. Congratulations to everyone. We'll contact you all, get your address. Don't matter where you are in the world, we'll ship this little bundle out to you. And we do have other giveaways active right now. So go back, show some love to all those videos, watch them all, drop a comment, make sure you're subscribed, and you could be entered in loads of stuff. So there we go, that's the giveaway done. Let me show you my #1 pick, and this is a flipping banger from Leroy Merlin. Right, so #1 is, this is an absolute belter, and I tell you, if you did belt someone with it, they'd be very injured. And this is the Edmer Boule Chiffon. This doesn't even have a name in English. If it had a name in English, it'd be flail. Because essentially, this is a ball, a really heavy ball on a chain with a handle. Now, if it was a flail, the chain would stop about there, wouldn't it? That'd be a medieval flail. But this one's even more dangerous, because look how much extra chain you've got. You've got literally about 4 meters of chain coming out of this. Now, you might be wondering, like me, what on earth job is this designed for? How is this a tool? Well, let me assure you, this is actually a tool with a very, very clever application. But before I show you what the application is, I will also show you on the packet, they recommend heating this up. Getting a blowtorch on it, and it made me laugh in the shop, because I thought, if that wasn't dangerous enough, being sold on general sale, the first picture is like, heat that up, get that red hot and glowing, and then you've really got a weapon, haven't you? But it's interesting to find a made in France tool as well. Now, any guesses what this is for? Now, I'm about to tell you, but just have a little think. If you saw that in a shop, what would you assume the job was? And if I told you it was something really handy and really useful, that's probably going to get your mind whirring even more, because to me it was so unexpected. Now, I'll tell you, picture the scene. You've got plasterboard with polystyrene backed insulation in your house for some reason. Now, I think it must be more popular in Europe. You do see it a lot over here. Plasterboard, 30mm, 40mm of polystyrene on the back, and you kind of bond it to the wall, and it gives you another layer of insulation. You might have it in your garden room, or maybe you've got it in an extension. Well, then imagine you're mounting a TV on the wall, and you can like drill all the way through, and you can fix into your breeze block, so you can kind of get a nice solid fix in, but you need to route those cables, and you've got that polystyrene all the way down, and you're trying to claw it all out and drill downwards. How do you get the cable from the top to the bottom so it's nice and hidden? Well, in comes the Boule Chiffonter, because all you do is literally make a little hole for maybe your top socket, maybe you get your back box and you make a hole, you make one at the bottom, and then you heat this up red hot, and you literally let gravity do the work, and it just melts its way down the back of your wall, creating a perfect little channel all the way down. Doesn't matter how high up it is, if you're going right from the top of the ceiling, you can do it for a 4-meter wall. They've prepared you for 4 meters of melting, and I felt like that was genius. I don't know how many of these they're selling. I can't imagine it's a tool that everyone wants in their toolbox. But if you're running around mounting TVs every day and you're trying to hide the cables and it's kind of part of your daily role, that you're doing that quite often, I think that is a flipping awesome tool for your toolkit. It's got some English on the back, there you go. So they just call it the stainless steel hot ball. That's what they've got it translated to in English. To make a 40mm diameter channel on insulating materials behind plasterboard without damaging them. Beautiful. So there you go, that is my number one pick. What a mental tool that is. I don't think that would be allowed to be sold in B&Q because I just think it is too ominous. Having that thing, it's like having a snooker ball in a sock, isn't it? But even more kind of official with a brand name on it. So that, to me, was a mental number one. And there we go. That is my top 10 picks. All I've got to do now is show you how the shadow foam works. So the last thing I wanted to do was give these templates a go. So I thought, rather than cutting all the tools in like we usually do, I think we go with testing out these templates. Is this something that would be useful? So I'll just go with a very simple joiner. And then also, I think I'll go for one of the most complicated items, which probably, I do like this. I think I could put this in the compact kit. But obviously it's a bit tricky because you've got cables, you've got a bit of a weird shape. So I think rather than cutting in something easy and going for a nice simple shape, one depth, I'll cut this in. And then anyone who's doing a toolkit with some wires or some weird items, this is one you're not going to want to miss. So first things first, I've got my glove on, I've got my scalpel. All of these things come in our cutting kits. Cutting kits come free with most orders at shadowfoam.com, and they also come in our starter kit. And if you're wondering where to start with shadow foam, the starter kit is just for you. We've got a great deal on it. It's a pack of foam in any of the colours, in 30mm or 50mm, a cutting kit, which is everything you use to cut shadow foam, plus a free 2m zollstock too, which is a great little bonus. That's 10 quid on its own. And if you've been watching this channel for any length of time, you'll probably appreciate that in your kit. So go and grab yourself a starter kit and I'll show you how it works. Starting with these letters. This is a bit of a different one. We'll still peel back the foam, but essentially, I'm just going to be cutting this outline. I went for this one because I thought the letters are big enough for me to try and get the knife around the corners. And so far, it looks like it is working. I'm writing Jonna. Should have written Dexter, but didn't want to upset Dexter by nicking his logo, so we'll do the Jonna version. And there we go. So I've cut all the way around, all 4 letters. Now let's see if I can get a bit of a peel going. So I'm just peeling off the very top layer, just so I can get that contrast. The J. That's pretty good. Now, I've left too big of a gap, to be fair, but I think it gets the concept across. I think next time we need to put these stencils a bit closer together, but it seems to be peeling out quite nicely. Even on the corners, it's all nice and connected. And even the very, very thin little sections, they weren't so thin that I couldn't get a nice peel going. Worked pretty well, those. I don't know how often I'm going to use them, but they definitely work. So maybe in a future project, if I need that stencil font for something, and they don't take up much room, to be fair, that's the whole alphabet plus 0 to 9, and that's how much space it takes up. So I don't think that would be a bad thing to have in maybe the shadow foam kit. So there we go. I think that's a pretty good win. Let me show you how you do the multimeter. So the first thing to do is place the item where you want it to go, and then just the same as always, just cut around it. We're using the scalpel like a pencil, just capturing the silhouette. The one thing I'm not doing here though, is you can see the 2 probes that clip on the bottom, because they're so much deeper and they're quite narrow, I'm just skipping those out. Now once I've got the profile, I'll lift the multimeter out of the way, and then I can connect up those cuts on the bottom, and essentially I'm just cutting around the shape of the multimeter without the probes. Now then I can just cut down as deep as I can. This is 50mm foam, so I'm going to go right down to 40mm, and I can peel back layers to give me a nice deep 40mm slot there. Now that's deeper than the multimeter itself, but with the cable underneath it, that's going to be enough room. Now the other thing I'm going to do here is make like a little recess for the 2 probes to slot into. So it's not often I do this, but to keep it nice and neat on the surface, I'm just going to basically make an angled cut and basically carve out a little slot for these probes to go into. And then when I put the multimeter in, I can kind of tuck it underneath, keeps the cables nice and tucked away, nice and tidy, and it gives me a little bit of space on the surface for something shallow as well, so it gives me more real estate on the foam. And there we have it, all done. That's the stencils looking smart. That's the multimeter, nicely packed in there. And the cable has got loads of room and it's just tucked away and hidden, which is the best you can hope for really with wires like that. And there we go, that is how you do shadow foam. Go and grab yourself a starter kit. Go and check out topnotchtools.co.uk for the offers over there. All the links are in the description for everything I've spoke about, as far as we can find links, that is. If you want to see some more videos like this, France, Spain, let me know the country that you'd like me to visit and pick up some weird tools, maybe go tool shopping in your country. Let me know in the comments below and you will be entered into the giveaway too for the little mini Rothenberger torch, the tape measure and the pencil. Really simple giveaway, that one. As you can see with the giveaway we did in this, all we do is pick the comments out, so make sure you don't miss out. Make sure you subscribed as well. And once again, a big thanks to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. Check them out with the link in the description and use the code SHADOWFOAM to get 4 months free. Thanks again guys, and we'll see you in the next one.